President Hoyos, current and former officers of Coparmex, members and guests, thank you for the honor of being with you this morning and learning more about the important work that this remarkable organization is undertaking. Let me bring a bit of to the work of Coparmex.
Gracias por tenerme aquí. Déjenme participar con una opinión, una perspectiva global acerca del Estado de Derecho.
The World Justice Project measures adherence to the rule of law in 113 countries. Coparmex is doing work that is not being done in any of those countries other than Mexico. And it is a particularly wise strategic plan of this organization in at least 3 ways that I'd like to reinforce with you this morning.
El World Justice Project participa en la medición del Estado de Derecho en 113 países y creo que podemos compartir algunos de los principios para guiar el nuevo trabajo de Coparmex al evaluar el Estado de Derecho en todo el país.
The first strategy is to recognize that the community comes first. It is what is good for the community that is good for business.
La primera estrategia es enfocarse en la comunidad. Lo que sea bueno para la comunidad es bueno para la empresa.
And the second wise strategy of Coparmex, I believe, is to reach out to civil society organizations which have much in common with an enlightened business community, in as much as both business and civil society seek to have functional communities where business can be conducted and where financial development, socio-political development, and human development can be advanced at the same time.
Entonces, Coparmex está haciendo varias cosas bien. Una de ellas, como dije antes, es enfocarse en las comunidades a las que sirven los empresarios, pero también está haciendo vínculos directos con la sociedad civil, y eso es admirable.
And the third strategy that is so impressive to me is that in its 87 years of service to its communities here in Mexico, Coparmex has chapters in 65 locations around the country. It is at the local level where the facts matter most, where communities are formed and improved. And to the credit of this organization, it recognizes the need to have local presence.
Y la tercera estrategia de Coparmex que me admira es esta red que tiene de más de 65 centros en todo el país y que con 87 años pueden tener esta presencia tan amplia porque es en el ámbito local donde ocurren los verdaderos cambios.
How rare it is to come to a country, in this case Mexico, and to ask friends and allies, who is the force for reform in the country? And the answer is, it's the business community. And Coparmex is the leader of that community. Congratulations.
Qué sorprendente ha sido para mí llegar a un país donde le preguntas a las personas, a los amigos, a personas importantes, ¿quién es la fuerza que mueve la reforma en este país? Y me han contestado aquí que es Coparmex. Los felicito.
The World Justice Project is based upon 2 simple premises, I think much aligned with the work of Coparmex. Our first principle, our first premise, the lead premise is this: if folk are going to live and work in functional communities, which we define as communities of equity, fair play. You all know what equity means. It's not a lawyer's term, it's a citizen's term. Communities of equity, communities of economic opportunity, and communities of peace. If you want to live and work in that kind of a community, of whatever scale, you have to invest in and create a homegrown culture of the rule of law. It is the platform for advancement.
Para nosotros en el World Justice Project, la premisa central es que si se quiere vivir en una comunidad donde hay equidad y oportunidad, lo primero que debe de haber es Estado de Derecho.
You know that you cannot do business in a capricious, corrupt, even a violent, lawless community. It simply does not work. There's got to be a firm foundation underneath commerce and underneath government if there's going to be a functional community.
No se puede hacer negocios en un lugar donde la ley se aplica de manera caprichosa y donde hay corrupción.
And the trailing premise for our work, and I think again this aligns with COPAMEX, the trailing premise is this: if there is validity to the lead premise of functional communities requiring a foundation of the rule of law, then what can we do about it? And our proposal is we can enlist the understanding and the support and the resources of a broad cross-section of disciplines. We need to have dentists and faith leaders and artists and teachers, business folk of all kinds, professionals of all kinds, the military, the police, government officials and agents. All of us need to be part of a multidisciplinary movement to see to it that we have a community which adheres to the rule of law.
Y para lograr esto se necesita que todos participemos de ser una comunidad muy amplia e interdisciplinaria que promueva el Estado de Derecho.
But what is the rule of law?
¿Y qué es el Estado de Derecho?
It is a capacious concept.
Es un concepto difícil de explicar.
Our definition of the rule of law is quite simple.
Nuestra definición es simple.
Just four principles, four universal principles, which can be the basis for analysis and criticism and support of communities all around the world in countries which have enormous varieties of resources and cultures and government systems.
Para nosotros hay 4 principios básicos que sirven para cualquier comunidad en todo el mundo.
I invite you to consider these 4 principles when you think of the phrase rule of law.
Les invito a considerar estos principios cuando piensen en Estado de Derecho.
Number 1, accountability.
Rendición de cuentas.
It has been mentioned several times already this morning, and it should. It is the starting point. Accountability of governments, officials, and agents. As well, accountability of private actors, companies, enterprises, civil society organizations, the academy, and even individuals.
La rendición de cuentas que se ha mencionado aquí mucho no solo va para funcionarios públicos, sino también para empresas y para ciudadanos y para organizaciones de sociedad civil.
But accountability based upon what? Based upon just laws.
Pero rendición de cuentas se basa también en tener leyes justas, que es otro de los principios.
We all know of repressive forms of government where there was lots of accountability, but there were not just laws.
Puede haber sistemas autoritarios donde hay mucha rendición de cuentas, pero no hay leyes justas.
And what do we mean by just laws?
¿Y a qué nos referimos con leyes justas?
We mean a set of laws, rules, regulations, even customs, if you will, cultural norms, which, first of all, protect the security of the individual.
Son leyes, y no solamente las escritas, sino también las no escritas, que protegen la vida de los individuos y la seguridad de los individuos.
Secondly, laws which create systems for creating value.
La segunda es leyes que crean valor.
And finally, a core set of human rights, directly from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Y finalmente, el grupo de derechos humanos, de leyes que protegen derechos humanos y que vienen de la Declaración Universal de los Derechos Humanos.
You know these core human rights. Freedom of expression,
Libertad de expresión,
freedom of assembly,
libertad de asamblea o de asociación
freedom of religion.
y libertad de creencia y de fe.
Those are the just laws according to which public and private actors should and must be held accountable for a functional community.
Esos son los principios básicos para que haya una comunidad funcional.
The third, I must hurry, I'm behind schedule, forgive me.
Me voy a apurar.
The third universal principle is open government.
Nuestro tercer principio es gobierno abierto.
We are entitled to know how the rules are being made, not in closed doors, but out front in a way that it is open and public to us.
Los ciudadanos tenemos derecho a ver cómo se crean las leyes de una forma totalmente abierta. Sí, gracias.
And the way those laws are administered must be open, and the way they're enforced must be open.
No solamente cómo es la hechura de las leyes, sino cómo se lleva a cabo la práctica y la observancia de estas leyes, hacerlas valer en transparencia.
And finally, there must be systems for resolving disputes independently.
Y finalmente se necesita una forma de resolver controversias con organismos imparciales.
However
independientes.
formal or informal the system, independent of undue influence, of wealth, of force, decisions made on the merits, so that the loser can proceed with her work and her life knowing that she has had a fair process to determine her rights and responsibilities.
Independencia para la resolución de conflictos, independiente del poder fáctico, del poder político, donde el que pierde crea que cuando menos tuvo un proceso que fue justo.
Thank you for the honor of being with you this morning. The World Justice Project looks forward to being a resource for Copamex in terms of providing current, accurate, reliable information, the basic data of what's going on in the community. On the basis of that intelligence, wise decisions can be made and progress can be achieved. Thank you very much.
Gracias.